judges, legal remedies, professors. For the last 4 days, we have been deliberating for the betterment of the world order, and on the basis of whatever has been suggested, told, Mr. R.C. Gupta, who is the General Secretary of this conference, has condensed the entire thought into 2 pages very beautifully. So that paper containing all the resolutions and recommendations will now be introduced by Mr. R.C. Gupta. I invite Mr. R.C. Gupta to introduce this subject.
Thank you. The Honorable Justice Hilario David Jr., the former Chief Justice of the Philippines, please join us on the stage. Yes, please. Mr. R.C. Gupta, would you like to address from here? Yes.
Convener of this conference, Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, Chairman of Reception Committee of this conference, Honorable Mr. Justice A.P. Mishra, Honorable Chairman of the Advisory Committee, Mr. Justice A.K. Srivastava, Your Excellencies, Honorable Chief Justices and judges sitting on the dais and sitting on the auditorium. I am grateful to Justice A.K. Srivastava for speaking highly about me, which I think I don't deserve, because I feel that it is my duty to work for the safety and security of children. I do it as a duty to the best possible, to my best possible capacity. We are grateful to you, all of you, for the very valuable opinion expressed during your deliberations, during your talk, and in the plenary session as well as in the parallel sessions. We have tried to consolidate those ideas expressed by you in a resolution. Considering the very theme of the conference, that is, uniting the world for children through enforceable world law and effective global governance. Based on your opinion, we have prepared a draft resolution which is being distributed to you, and I am going to read it out. Whereas this century is facing problems and issues and clashes based on religious and ethnic ambitions and extremism and terrorism, which are causing serious global concern, leading to constant danger to life, property and landscapes. And there is danger of nuclear technology falling in the hands of terrorists and non-state entities, exposing the entire world to unprecedented danger. Whereas a very large section of its people are deprived of their basic human rights and are living in abject poverty, and hundreds of millions of children of the world are exposed to various abuses due to poverty and are deprived of their various rights, such as right to education, health, drinking water, shelter, clothing and sanitation. Whereas very large resources are being squandered in the name of defense, as you know, on weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems, creating a dangerous situation, and in the event of a war, deliberate or accidental, WMD can wipe out the entire humanity. And whereas in such a scenario, urgent and concrete steps are imperative for bringing about world unity and world peace, so that all the people, especially children of our generation and future generations, may live in peace and security and may work for advancement of humanity. Now, therefore, we, the Chief Justices and Judges from 52 countries of the world, participating in the 16th International Conference of Chief Justices of the World on Article 51 of the Constitution of India, organized by the City Montessori School, CMS Lucknow, India, on 9 to 12 October 2015, do hereby reform the resolutions passed in the previous conferences of Chief Justices organized by CMS and resolved. Well, the number which I have given here is 52. 52 countries are represented by Honorable Chief Justices and Judges, and there are other 8-9 countries from which Honorable Excellencies and other delegates, legal luminaries have come. So, since this is the Conference of Chief Justices, we have included only those countries which have been represented by Honorable Chief Justices and Justices. And resolved, I am reading it out, and resolved that urgent attention of heads of state and heads of government of all countries of the world be drawn to the world scenario, urging them to call a meeting of heads of state and heads of government to consider the present global problems and to find solutions thereof, and also for constituting a world parliament to enact and enforce world laws, leading ultimately to the creation of a world government and a world court of justice. And recommend, is the resolution and now recommendation, that the Chief Justice and Judges take steps permissible within their jurisdiction to ensure through their judgments, seminars and debates that the spirit of these conferences is vivified, accelerated to bring awareness among the citizens of the world. 2. That strict measures be taken against the organizations and nations engaged in or encouraging extremism, terrorism, waging war in the name of religion or on any other pretext, or assisting or protecting such organizations and entities. And that nations or organizations extending financial or material assistance to terrorists or such organizations be isolated and condemned by all nations. 3. That the resources currently used in the manufacture and maintenance of weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems be directed for the purpose of development, elimination of poverty, conservation, and I am reading it out again, that the resources currently used in the manufacture and maintenance of weapons of mass destruction and their delivery systems be directed for the purpose of development, eliminating poverty, conserving environment, and advancing the welfare of mankind in general and of children in particular. 4. That with a view to inculcating in children virtues and values of love, tolerance, humility, and universal brotherhood, peace education and cross-cultural education be imparted compulsorily on all schools of the world, which is vital for a peaceful future in which benefits of science and technology and of development may reach to every citizen of the world. 5. That although the UNO is working for peace, social uplift, human rights and development through its various agencies, yet more serious and concrete steps must be taken to reform the United Nations by review of the UN Charter with a view to making the United Nations fully democratic, representative and effective institutions by amending the UN Charter for maintenance of peace and security of mankind and for effective global governance. and resolve that these recommendations, resolution be sent to the heads of the state and heads of government and to chief justices of all the countries of the world for consideration and action. Honorable Lordship, this draft resolution was put up in a meeting of a committee, core committee, last evening in the in these premises, which approved this resolution. Certain other suggestions were made, which we have, some of which we have tried to incorporate in this, without, any deviation in the content of the resolution. So, Lordship, it is for your consideration. A copy of the resolution, I think, has reached to all of you, and kindly read it out. Or if there are any suggestions, kindly do inform us by raising of.
Just propose some addition to paragraph 5. In fact, we must see how this proposal has been before the United Nations for more than 15-20 years. We are talking about reform. One of the strategy some powerful countries use is delay tactics. They say we have to follow this, we have to follow that, and what they have done, they have gained time and they have successfully applied delay tactics to bring any amendment to the UN Charter. How to get over this? Because next time, even the last session, we brought it, and then they talk about procedures, you have to give notice to this and so on. Again, I am sure they will apply delay tactics and defeat. So what I would like to suggest, we should indirectly indicate to them in paragraph 5, I will read it again, that although the UN is working for peace, social uplift, human rights and development through its various agencies, yet more serious and concrete steps must be taken within a reasonable time frame. That would at least indicate to them that delayed tactics cannot, work. After the word taken, must be taken within a reasonable time frame to reform the United Nations by review of the UN Charter. If it is acceptable to members of this, at least that would help us to get it expedited before the Assembly. Thank you.
Anybody would like to make? Justice Soto. Oh, sorry, Justice Hilario David.
Yes, it's a very good amendment, but much time had been given already for the reform in the UN. As a matter of fact, demands have been made by member states, and I participated vigorously in making these proposals. What should perhaps be necessary is not within a reasonable time, but it should be as soon as possible.
Lordship, there is already provision in Article 108 and 109 of the Charter for review of the Charter after 10 years. So a conference was held in the year 1955, but then it was decided that it would be a committee will be constituted, and that committee may have been constituted, but nothing happened. Only the number of the members of the Security Council was raised from 11 to 15. So there is already a provision in the Charter about it. So even if we write giving them a time frame, so that will not be, I think, I don't think I prefer for giving them that particular direction. So it will form a direction, of course. So I think, you explained. Yes, of course. Justice Odeki, Honorable Justice Odeki.
Thank you very much for that amendment. I appreciate the concern for urgency. But what is reasonable time? What is as soon as possible? What's the yardstick? What yardstick are we giving? Do we ourselves know what we mean by reasonable time? Do we have a time frame? What we mean by as soon as possible? Who is the interpreter of this? Who will decide? Ourselves? These people were asking. My view is that while those sentiments are well intentioned, doesn't advance because of expedition. The sentiment is raised, but who is going to interpret what is reasonable time? So that's the only problem I have. Maybe you can say urgently, consider, maybe, I don't know. It will be in their discretion anyway. My proposal is that we leave it as it is.
Okay, your proposal is that we leave it as it is. Sir, Your Excellency, you wanted to express something. Did you want to say something, sir?
No, on the issue.
Yes.
No.
So what is the resolution on this proposal by Justice Karnakaran and the alternative suggestion? Justice Karnakaran's suggestion is that we say within a reasonable time frame. Justice Hilario Davide's suggestion is to add as soon as possible. And Justice Odoki's suggestion is to leave it as it is.
I also say that the resolution as it is should be there, unless we give any time frame or we define a reasonable time. It is not worth writing anything on that time, on that basis. So I say that the resolution as drafted may be approved. I leave it to the body, to the House.
You will also leave this as it is.
Okay, so Justice Sharif is also of the view that we leave it as it is.
In fact, first I'll appreciate, no doubt, the anxiety of the House and Justice Karnakaran making suggestion looks very positive, no doubt about it. Something should be done. But my feeling is little, because looking to word used in the para 5 is already very strong words of the expression what should be done. Read it slowly, they will get the image. Although the UNO is working for peace, social uplift, human rights, and development through its various agencies, yet more serious and concrete steps must be taken to reform the United Nations. Very strong word is used. If we further limit them, the image should not be as if we are dictating them. That will my feeling is, will have a different repercussion. If it is left to this, we may consider in the next conference how things develop. That will be better. My feeling is, already you are saying very strong word for this, and it should be considered as it is. That's all.
Well, are there any more suggestions? More suggestions? Yes. Yes, Lord.
I think it's better to leave it as it is. Because if you read the paragraph 5 of the recommendation, it says that to reform the United Nations by review of the United Charter with a view. The view is speaking itself to making the United Nations fully democratic, representative and effective institution, so that it is discretionary. I think, in my opinion, to leave it as it is. Thank you.
Anyone else wishes to express a view on this topic, or otherwise we can move on? Yes, sir. Chief Justice of Zimbabwe, sir.
I certainly think that the amendment is deserving of merit. We are simply expressing our view of what the time limit should be, and it adds value to the resolution.
So the proposal of Justice Karnakaran has merit, and that it adds value if we put within a reasonable time frame. Did I understand you correctly, that that's your view? Sorry, sirs, just a follow-up clarification, if we've understood his view correctly.
I think whether we use the phrase as soon as possible or within a reasonable time, it really doesn't matter. But it expresses the concept that we want this done on an urgent basis.
So your view is that it is better to add at least one of those two, because it shows the proposal itself has merit, that we should demonstrate that there is an urgency about it.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm a representative of Afghanistan. What I would like about the fifth section of this resolution, according to my opinion, is it correct? Is it okay if you mention a reasonable time frame? There is a lot of times in some other resolution there is mentioned reasonable time or frame, but nothing had happened. For example, I'm from Afghanistan. We are suffering a lot from these terrorist acts than other countries. So what you have mentioned here, nothing I mentioned. Unfortunately, no one country has helped in this regard. We're still suffering. But nobody looked at, in this Chief Justice Conference, at least to mention who support the tourism. Who has done? You must be courageous. Because we are judges. Judges say the truth. And you know that. Frankly. And what is the practical would be, there is mentioned that strict measures be taken against the organization and nations engaged in or encouraging extremism, terrorism, waging war in the name of religion or any other pretext, or assisting or protecting such organizations and entities, and invite nations or organizations extended financial or material assistance to terrorists, or such organization be isolated and condemned by all nations. So, what's the measure about Afghanistan? From thousand kilometers, terrorists coming through other countries and entering to Afghanistan, and still there is a lot of problems. Still there is a lot of... Look, Daesh is where nowadays is coming to Afghanistan. Who is sending? At least it shouldn't be mentioned in this resolution. that we should take strict action against those who send those forces to Afghanistan. Thank you very much.
Lordship, your suggestion is that what action should be taken? Well, we are only a recommendatory body, and what action should be taken, that depends upon the political leadership of the world. We are not the person who can recommend that this action should be taken. Only that they should be isolated. Those who doing so should be isolated and condemned by all nations of the world. So, what is your specific suggestion? What should we write that what action should we take? Can we do it? Can we write to them that such and such, this type of action must be taken, except that we should...
If you let me, what I mean, at least it should be condemned. Who is those people? Who is those nations? Because there is in the resolution mentioned the nations. How can United Nations is from since 47 or 48 and human rights 10 December of 48? There is still, for instance, bombarded a hospital in Afghanistan. Yeah, hospital should not be bombarded. Or children, or wedding ceremony. All of know of that. Aware of it. But still, those people, those nations, I'm not blaming the nations, but those organizations send those type of people to enter through other borders should be mentioned.
Sir, may I just say that it is already mentioned. If you look at point 2, it says that strict measures be taken against the organizations and against the nations engaged in or encouraging extremism, terrorism, waging war in the name of religion or any other pretext, or assisting or protecting such organizations and entities, and that nations or organizations that extend financial or material assistance to terrorists or such organizations, those entities, those nations or those organizations be isolated and be condemned by all nations. Sure. So I think that without naming individual nations, which is not appropriate to do, I think we would all agree that we would not want to name individual nations, that there is a clear-cut condemnation being expressed here of those nations that export terrorism.
What about the practical? Is it okay to make a beautiful sentences, to put a very beautiful sentences as a judge? We implement the law. How can we implement this? Your judge, we issue verdict. In that case, we should look at everything. Is it possible to implement as a judge or just issue proposal? No. We are sending order. We are Chief Justice. We should be courageous. Not to proposal to others.
So, sir,
what
are you
I
suggesting
mean,
the name of individual countries to be included? Are you suggesting the names of individual countries to be included?
No, what I'm sending you, at least it should mentioned in this, those organizations or those nations or governments, not the nations, okay, nation also, state or some people also covered it. But those governments training it and sending it because we are suffering since 37 years. What I mean, as a judge, we should issue order, not proposal. This is very beautiful order.
So this is a resolution. It is not a verdict being given by judges. It is not a verdict that is being given.
I know that. I know. I'm sorry if discuss it is take a time again. I know that this is a resolution. It's a draft of resolution. But in the same case, my proposal is, at least, it should be in strong word condemned. Very much.
Problem really, we don't have the power to give orders. And this is a language that should be adopted in my own view. I've been really giving it some thought based on what Your Honor have just really suggested, but I really find it very difficult to turn the language into a more stronger phase in terms of giving orders. This is not what we can do here in this forum.
Justice Karnakaran had a point. Farida ma'am, Justice Karnakaran wanted to make a
Going back to the time frame, actually, when we suggest this addition of this verse within a time frame, it's a strategic expression, because we know since the United Nations we established after the Second World War. The conditions were different those days. Since then, every now and then, we talk of reform. The world is changed. It's not, 40s. We are in the 21st century. But every time when we talk of reform, they apply delay tactics. We have to give the hidden message. Yes, what they don't openly do that. That we have to make them aware of the fact that we are concerned because of the delay tactics which they implicitly apply in delaying the reform. We are not openly asking them to give time frame. At least we should make them know that we know what you are doing there. That will be the one aspect of adding this time limit, reasonable time limit. Secondly, when we do an action, the procrastination will defeat the very purpose of the action which you want to carry out. This amendment which we are seeking it has a consequence. By procrastinating this amendment, eventually we defeat the very purpose for which we seek this amendment to the UN. So this should also give a message to them. Don't delay, that will defeat the purpose, very purpose of the amendment, because the time is running out. The world is changing, drastic changes taking place.
I think you put it very cogently, and in fact, the truth is that it should have been done within the first 10 years, and it was not.
Thank you.
So really, it needs to be done forthwith. One could even be stronger. Instead of saying as soon as possible or within a reasonable frame, one could even say it should be done forthwith. So there is a diversity of opinion on it. I really don't think that such a huge deal hangs on it. I think with this minor, very small modification noted down, that it should be done, any one of these three phrases, as soon as possible, or within a reasonable time frame, or forthwith. Forthwith will be the strongest out of these three, which I think that is the one that my father would favor. That I don't know whether.
I think this will be too strong a wording. We have already, as Honorable Justice Mishra explained, that we have already written that more serious and concrete steps must be taken. So how can we say, even if we write within a short time, within a week or so, then how will it make a difference? No. We have already written. As I explained, there is already a provision in the Charter for review of the UN Charter. But what has happened? So, will it have any difference? Or how can we direct United Nations or some other agency for taking steps forthwith or immediately or within a week, within a particular time frame? Well, it is for your consideration whether will it be proper to give a time frame. Can we give a time frame to the United Nations which have been considering the issue for the last 50 years. Since the year 1945, or maybe 10 years after that, from the year 1955, when the question of review was required under the UN Charter, under Article 108 and 109 of the UN Charter.
My lords,
sorry. As I understand it, this whole resolution is meant to be sent to the Chief Justices of all countries, including heads of state and government, who in turn will direct, firstly, their UN ambassadors to ensure that the timelines are set in motion within the UN system, which moves very slowly. And so I think the suggestion of a timeline is appropriate, because you must, the journey always begins at the end. You must have a target date within which these processes should be set in motion within the UN structures. My understanding is that even last month, the heads of states and governments within the AU raised this very point sharply, and so if this summit resolves in a manner which strengthens their resolve to take this matter forward, I think that is in order. Thank you.
I just have a compromise to make on this, between leaving it as it is or maybe adding the time limit. Yeah. So, and the compromise would be, if we read it, yet more seriously and concrete step must, instead of must be taken, we could say must be urgently taken. So we just introduce urgently here. This would be a compromise, in my view.
I'm sorry for the intervention.
Urgently be taken.
The word forthwith, of course, it's a strong word which we shouldn't use. This is not an order or a judgment. That is why I propose the expression within a reasonable time frame. That is the judge's language. That gives the message that you are applying delay tactics for the past 50 years. Now we are aware of this. Please don't apply again delay tactics. That's the hidden message. Nothing else. I think in that respect, within a reasonable time frame, this is the phraseology which we use in all constitutions. This is a very, very polite way of telling that you have to do it within a time limit.
Steps must urgently be taken. Just we insert the word urgently.
No, that's not judge's language. We shouldn't say that. Of course, the effect could be urgently, but you won't say that way. You put it somewhere reasonable time, because they may have some reasons. There may be some requirement, notice period, this and that. So we cannot tell them urgently. The procedural requirements should be complied with. So within a reasonable time frame means we take into account the procedural delays in bringing the notice motion before the assembly.
I think so. In the compromise, language, reasonable time is both palatable. If you want to give some time frame, it would be a very soft word and good word. Within reasonable time should be added. That should be best.
reasonable time. Okay. Well, any other suggestions?
So that suggestion is accepted. Any other suggestions? Oh yes, sir. There is a hand up there.
Apparent on the face of the resolution. My suggestion is that let it go as it is. I repeat that very urgency is apparent on the face of the resolution.
Well, I think suggestions have been received. There is a proposal that they just put in that the resolution should be as it is, and there should be no amendment to the suggestion given by Justice Karunakaran. So those who are in favor, should I call the favor of this?
Just to restate it, that so the proposal is that we pass the resolution as it is, except for one amendment, which is the one that is suggested by Justice Karunakaran about the time frame. So we add the phrase within a reasonable time frame. Other than that amendment, we accept the resolution. Is that? Yeah. The rest of it as it is. I think those who agree, could you raise your papers to show your agreement, please?
Those who agree to the resolution as it is may kindly
raise your
say
papers.
aye.
Or just say aye. That's fine.
Those who favor an amendment may show their hands. I think, with the permission of Chair, Honorable Mr. Justice A.P. Mishra, should we take another vote, or should we, is it all right? Is it final? Well, the majority is in favor of the resolution as it is. So we think that it is considered as passed. Thank you, Honorable Justices.
Chief Justice of Sudan, who would like to make presentations, mementos to Dr. Jagdish Gandhi, Dr. Mrs. Bharati Gandhi, and Professor Geeta Gandhi Kingdon as a token of appreciation and gratitude. Yes, please. Yes, please. Friends from Sudan.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of Sudan Judiciary, we've got honor to present some mementos to Mr. Jagdish Gandhi and his family. On behalf of Sudan Judiciary, yes, the stick, please. Yes, the stick for is an ebony, embroidered ebony from Sudan. We gave it to Mr. Jagdish Gandhi. And another memento from Sudan Judiciary to Miss Professor Geeta Gandhi, please. please come over. It's an ebony also, a hand of Judiciary. Hand it to her. Please give her a big hand. And again, this ship is made of ebony and embroidered by all students of City Montessori. Please, to continue your journey of success, on behalf, give it to. Also, represent from a student. Please come over stage, a representative. Any student come over?
Student?
Yes. This is for the student of City Montessori.
Two students, please.
A boy and a girl,
over.
please hurry up. Yes, on behalf of Sudan Judiciary, we gave this ship to the City Montessori student to continue a journey of success. Another ship also will be going to Professor Sandeep. Professor Sandeep also we have. Professor Sandeep.
Is Sandeep here?
Is around.
Sandeep Srivastava.
Anyone, you could hold it for him.
Sir, can give it for Sandeep.
Another memento also we give it to a library of City Montessori. It's a book about history of Sudan Judiciary. This is a book of history of Sudan Judiciary. We'll give it to them. And lastly, not the least, to Madame Gandhi, also we present for her memento.
Dr. Bharati Gandhi.
Dr. Bharati Gandhi. Yeah, please. Yes. Please show hand for her. Really. Appreciation. A row of elephant. Pull us to the world. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Your Excellency. Thank you.
On behalf of the Supreme Court of Ukraine, we would like to make some gift to Mr. Dr. Jagdish Gandhi. And we are very pleased and for your kindness and your hospitality. And thank you very much for this conference. It was very helpful. It was a great experience for us. And we would like to share that information in the spirit of the conference in Ukraine. Thank you very much again. Thank you very much, Doctor.
This present is from City Montessori School to the Argentina delegation.